It's the Gear Tester here, and you are looking at the Viking Tactics polymer light mount. I've had this on my gun for a couple days and I've been impressed with it, and just wanted to share with you my initial impressions on this quality, inexpensive piece of equipment. This mount is all polymer, and I'm going to take it off the gun and I'm going to show it to you guys, because even though the mount is completely polymer, they've reinforced it in ways that I really like, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. I initially wasn't sure that I would like this mount because of the fact that it's polymer, but after looking at a number of different mounts, some of the LaRue mounts that are over $100 and different companies' mounts that were metal, I decided that I'd rather spend the $25 that I ended up paying for this Viking Tactics light mount and at least test it out and see how it would work before spending the additional money. It just seems like an awful lot of money to spend over $100 or close to $100 for just the mount, not the light. We're just talking the mount that holds it to the gun. One of the things that I like about the Viking Tactics mount, compared to even some of the metal mounts that I've been looking at, is that it uses two different screw sets to hold the light onto the gun and to hold the gun, the light to the gun. And why I think that's important is when you have just one screw or two screws that are holding both the light connected, so if these two screws held the light connected in and then held to the gun, if one of those screws or both those screws, depending on how it's set up, back out, you not only lose the mount off your firearm, but you also lose your light. This way, I might realize that the light is getting a little bit loose, or I might realize that the mount is getting a little bit loose connected to the rifle, but I don't lose them both and have them both leaving separate ways. If the light falls off, it's still going to be connected to the mount. If the light gets loose, I still have the mount connected to my gun. I'm minimizing my losses, and I also think it's just a better system, more redundancy. What that means is there are going to be more screws. When you purchase the Viking Tactics light mount, it comes in some nice little packaging here. See, just a little box, minimal packaging. It is set up to take lights that have a carry clip, like many of the smaller Surefire lights that have a 0.8 diameter, or the 1-inch diameter like this Surefire G2 LED light that I have here. This is just internally inside, and you just loosen the two main screws here and slide it out. Very simple process if you just want to use the 1-inch mount. But I like that that's included for no additional cost. If you wanted to do something like a mag light, I think you might be able to make it work. One of those mini mag lights with this section there. I would just go, personally, I'd spend the additional money and get a quality Surefire light. I've taken the mount off in order to show you guys some of the things that I really like about it. Although it's polymer, and this section right here that I'm holding in my hand is completely polymer that the screws run through, the screws thread into, on both sides, you can see here where these screws that attach the light actually to the mount, you can see there that those have metal brackets on the back of them. And that's the same. Should have taken this out, but I'll make it work here. I'm just going to loosen this up and show you guys that there is also metal brackets which run through here, okay, and hold the inside portion, which clamp the mount actually to the rail which you're going to be using on a particular firearm. So this is pretty easy. One of the things you will want to pay attention to if you get this mount is that these screws that actually hold the mount and light to the rail, those screws are going to need to come out all the way, because there's a little index bar here that locks into the rails so that it doesn't move, but that means that you're going to have to take it completely off in order to get it locked down. So those screws are going to come out. You can see here, here's one of them. They're decent sized. So just be aware of that. So we've got this light completely out. It's a very simple process. I've been very happy with how secure the light feels in the mount. But I don't know if you can see here. I'm going to bring it up closer to the camera. Flip this around so I can see what I'm doing. See if it'll focus here. If you can see right in there that there are metal bolt you know, the bolt is going to run through here, and then it's got these secondary kind of portions there that allow it to mount in. So you've got metal where it matters, and you've kept a very lightweight polymer frame. And I think that that's important. You can see there, those don't seem to want to fall out, which I'm very happy, so I haven't lost those easily. But I think that what's important to recognize about this mount is that where metal is important, where that tension is going to be, they've reinforced the polymer with these metal bracket portions that are going to hold on there on both sections. I think that's probably the most important thing that I take away from this. I didn't know that that was the case, and so I was a little bit worried whether if I tensioned this down too much, if I could crack it or break it. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It's really good heavy-duty polymer. I'm impressed with the functionality of this thing, and I'm really happy that they reinforced it where I would want it reinforced with these bracket portions there, both internally. You can see there. This is where the clip, this section right here, you'd index that secondary portion to go in to shorten up, to shrink down the size. And this section right here where those brackets are, you'd actually be able to put the clip of some of the smaller Surefire lights, the thinner diameter lights. The clip goes right in there. You don't have to take the clip out. So before I mount this light with the Viking Tactics mount back onto my AR-15, I thought I'd give you guys a look at this mount on a couple different firearms. You may want to use it, you know, you may not want to have this because it's polymer and you're worried about that. You may not want to use it on a primary weapon that you might use in home defense, but maybe you might want to use it on your 1022. So I've got a 1022 here, and I just wanted to give you guys an example of what this might look like on it and how it might operate. So we're just going to flip it around here, indexing. I really like the fact that it has that index portion there. Just going to index that into the mount. I've already had it on the 1022 myself. I figure I know you, my viewers, my audience, my subscribers, and you like this kind of thing. That's one of the reasons you watch my videos. So we're just going to flip it around. Very easy install. One of the nice things is once the light is in there, there's no way for those brackets on the inside to fall out once the light's been attached in there. So you don't have to worry about that, at least with the large light in it. I'm not sure what it would be like with the smaller diameter 0.8 inch lights in there. Let's see if we can get that down and mounted firmly. On the AR-15, this has a really, for whatever reason, I'm having a little bit of difficulty getting that down on there. On the AR-15 mount, this is really mounts down tight and secure with no wobble or movement. On the 1022, since I've already had it on there, it doesn't do that, and that's because of the way that I have the mounting system, the rail system there. Did a previous review on this little system. Clamps just on there. It's a good system. I've removed the lower rail portion because I did not like it. Got in the way, and I just wanted to trim it up. So there is a little bit movement with this system, but that's not the Viking Tactics mount problem. That's the way I'm mounting it. But it's my 1022. I don't view this as a defensive tool. I'm mounting it this way on the 1022 because I can bring my hand up and I can actuate the on-off button very easily, like so. And this mount seems very nice. One of the things that I noticed when I've had this on this is that it lights the front sight very nicely. So in a nighttime situation, if you were going to legally and appropriately, you were going to hunt, I'm not sure where you would be that would be significantly illegal, but let's say that there's a fox robbing the chicken coop. You step outside with your trusty 1022, no optic on it. That's not a problem because I'm lighting that front bead there, that little copper portion there on the light, and the light's hitting it, and so I'm just able, even in a dark situation, to find that. It's actually even in a lighted situation that I'm right now, when I turn that light on, I can actually see the bead, that little copper bead there, much easier. My eye picks it up. So, you know, that's a benefit. If you're going to mount it this way, I would definitely mount it that way. If you're going to mount it on your 1022, something like that, and I think this would be totally a perfect mount. You could even mount with this. You could use that, break it down to like that 0.8 inch of diameter, and you might be able to do that with a Surefire light, one of the smaller ones, or if you really, it's on a 1022, you maybe use a mini mag light, and that would probably be just perfect, just the right amount of money for something like a 1022 to do some pest control. So there it is on the 1022. Give you guys a little bit better look. Flip it around like so. You can see how it mounts. It's a little bit funky, but it's going to work very nicely. And there's, like I said, a tiny bit of movement, but nothing that's going to, it's not going to fall off, but it's just the way that that system mounts, that little barrel band mounts to the Ruger 1022. I was trying to mount the light and mount onto my Glock 19 here to show you guys how it would index, but these screws are not long enough to enable it to mount to this rail system here. And that's, I think, just the reality. I don't think, it would have ended up looking something like this mounted on there. And it might have been useful. Would never have been able to holster the gun with it in this configuration, and I think would have been actually silly. But I just want to see how it would do. It won't, because those screws are too short to make it function. Maybe that might play a role in your decision making as you think about maybe getting this Viking Tactics polymer light mount. But I'm impressed with this mount. I'm happy with it. These are, of course, my initial impressions. We'll see. There were many people that thought that this gun was going to be a failure because it was made out of polymer. And it's proven to be one of the most popular guns. The Glock pistols have proven to be one of the most popular guns in the last 20 years. So we'll see if this polymer light mount holds up. I haven't done a lot of shooting with it yet. I'm going to get out to the range here hopefully in the next couple weeks and do some shooting with it. And do some torture testing maybe on it. So subscribe if you like this video and watch for that upcoming video. I like to do these initial impression videos purely for the sake of letting you guys know what I'm up to, as well as I'm thinking about this mount because I just got it recently and I've been taking it on and off and trying it on gear for my own knowledge and information. And it's easy for me to forget some of these things as I wait a couple months to actually do a review on a product. So that's why I probably might have forgotten that there are metal brackets everywhere on this light. I just would have known that it was the mount. I would have just known that it didn't break and it was working well. That's what I suspect is going to happen with it. If it breaks, if something goes bad with it, I'll definitely let you guys know. It does come in a number of different colors. It comes in black, coyote tan, or flat dark earth, which I think is this coloration, a green coloration. You can look either at Viking Tactics website or online, such as Amazon. I actually bought this one from a local firearms store. It was nice to have a store carrying a product like this. And if you guys have the opportunity to support your local firearms stores and sporting goods stores, I would do that. It's good to have them around. It's nice to be able to just go to a store and actually purchase something and look at it in the package maybe before you do it. You can see here how the light ends up indexing here on some Magpul furniture. For those of you who are treating your AR-15s, tactical rifles, or other guns that you might be attaching this to as Barbie dolls and not as effective tools and useful tools, the coloration of what appears to be Magpul's flat dark earth and this don't match, and I don't care at all. But for those of you who do, and that's going to be a worry, then this mount is not for you. If you're going to be doing some serious shooting, hunting, and home defense, self-defense, then you probably won't care either. But there you go. I like this mount. I like Viking Tactics. One thing that I failed to let you guys know about this mount is that it is made inside the United States. So you are when you buy this mount, you are supporting American businesses that have brick and mortar businesses inside the United States and that use American workers to manufacture those products. So there you go. My initial impressions on the Viking Tactics light mount. I think it looks like an excellent piece of gear. I would definitely recommend it to you. And stay tuned for more videos with some shooting and action and activity using this mount. Maybe some torture testing. Thanks very much for your views and your subscriptions. My goal is to produce quality video reviews of shooting, camping, and survival gear. This is the Gear Tester, signing off.